see you. Oh my God! I want to like cup your hands and go your face and go.
Oh, let me turn my M&M down.
Your tunes down. We could just have a dance session. That's cool.
I know, right?
And so all this question asking for myself, I'm seeing is like, it's really exciting, but then it's also very like, you know, it kind of leaves you in this very vulnerable, open, like, what's sure anymore? Well, nothing other than that you create your own reality. So I think, you know, because I think it's like in my past, so much of this like idea of like marriage was, you know, to get married and you're going to have this security that this person's going to be with you and only you. And it's like, that's not.
You know what? It's like, that's possible. That is possible. The question is it true for you? You know, and that's why I said, even if that's a true, authentic desire, I believe we can have anything that we want. Anything.
Yeah.
I think that the reason that that's so questionable is that, like I said, so many relationships were created and built upon a faulty foundation in the first place. To the degree that we don't know ourselves, that's going to be part of our evolution in our relationship, unless we really hold it down. But I'm saying if you're in an evolving relationship, and that's a beautiful thing, you know?
Wait, what did you just say? You cut out a little bit. If you're in an evolving relationship?
I'm saying if we look at relationships as an evolution, that's a beautiful thing.
Right.
Because if we're coming to discover and know ourselves, every time we discover newness, new territory, new thought, new feeling, new states of being in our relationship, we're essentially a new person, and our relationship to ourselves has changed, and our relationship to that person will change. And to act like that's not happening is delusional.
Right.
And even if you say, I'm going to be the exact same person, I'm not going to evolve, and I'm not going to change, and I'm not going to think, be, or do anything different, and I'm super, uber solid, that change is still happening. It's just happening inside you now. Or trying to happen. Like, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. It's still happening.
Right.
It's still happening. And the people who are in a relationship who say, oh, well, they're like that, they're aging faster, they're dying faster. But that evolution is still happening. It's just happening in the recesses of their consciousness rather than on the forefront of their awareness. It's still happening.
Right. So would you say that in any given relationship, I mean, can we take it all back to the flow? I mean, if like, is it possible to be, oh, of course it is, everything's possible, to be in a relationship for the rest of your life and it to feel like it's the flow for the rest of your life and not just now a commitment that you made that you're sticking to? Of course it's possible.
Of course that's possible, because you can choose anything. But what I'm saying is that if we're not choosing in the first place from the true discernment and knowingness of our soul's preference and what it is that we actually love, then we're already off anyway.
Right. Got it. Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying, like, we're you know, that's still yet a very rare thing for any of us to actually be sourcing our own relationship from that pure place that's coded directly to our soul and our knowingness. Like, we're finding our way to even what that is while we're in relationships.
Yeah.
So, of course it's possible. And as far as the depth of intimacy, the diversity of experience and adventure that is natural to many people, if you ride the pulse of truth and you keep saying yes to your soul's next level of evolution, the next whispering, the next yelling, the next calling for you to embody more, the next level of truth of who you are, if you keep saying yes to that, you keep deepening in intimacy and life keeps flowing, everything changes every time that happens. And it's constantly happening. So there's no end to the new experience that you can have just within yourself, let alone with one person. Like, we think it's challenging sometimes for that to be happening with being with one person. And I'm saying not only can that happen easily with one person, that can happen just inside yourself.
Right.
And that's why if you have two beings who are evolving souls,
Mm-hmm.
who are committed to that evolution and committed to that evolution in each other, you're going to have a never-ending experience of adventure, diversity, intimacy, depth. It's never-ending. And I'm not saying that that means you should be with one person or multiple people. What I am saying is that if somebody makes the conclusion that they want to be with multiple people, and it's because subconsciously they believe that if they're not, then they won't be able to experience this flow of energy that I'm calling diversity, then I'm saying you can't even tell what's true for that person because they built that idea on top of a lack. So if you don't believe that it's possible, and I've seen it happen in relationships. A couple will be in a relationship, and the next level of their soul's truth is trying to come through, and one or both of them says no to it, then the life force energy, aka passion, aka interest, aka intimacy, starts to stagnate, thrusts out a desire for motion, passion, intimacy, life force, and it's like, it's not happening here, then subconsciously they'll manifest it somewhere else. Well, why is it easy to receive it somewhere else? It's easy because you don't have as strong of a definition of yourself to the new person.
Wow.
So you're able to go in a state of innocence, and all of a sudden you feel this rush of life and excitement because they don't have a co-created definition of you that you created with them. So it's free game for you to be yourself. And when you're being yourself, you're actually going to receive the thing that you wanted when you wanted to receive it in your relationship, when you were perceiving that it actually stagnated. Most of the time, it's not actually stagnant. I think I just broke down cheating. That's cheating 101 right there. That's how it happens.
That's it.
Most of the time. So that's why, like, the whole idea of, like, multiple relationships, open relationships, you can't even tell on the surface if that's true or not. And I don't have a judgment on any of those.
Right.
But if you're not actually living in truth, you're drawn to that because you're not able to keep going deeper into yourself within one relationship? Or are you drawn to that because it's actually an authentic expression of your soul? So who knows what percentage of people would go one way or the other if they really are coming from that truth? Because the desire, conscious or unconscious, to be with another person, for example, if that desire is coming because your soul has come knocking and you're not answering and you're not going through that vulnerability maybe and penetrating deeper, intimate inside yourself, into the unknown, into what might be scary, into this feeling that you don't want to avoid, and then coming through it with the new life that comes out of the resurrection of the new feeling. If you're not doing that and you're avoiding it, and then it has you look over here and be drawn to something that then how do you even know if that thing is actually your true preference?
Wow.
See what I'm saying? That's why there's so much there that I'm like, I don't have any one answer to any relationship question because that's so prevalent.
Right.
And you can't even tell if you're not honest about that. Like, man, and that happens all the time. And that I think that dynamic is the core dynamic that happens that has somebody break a code or cheat.
Yes.
Like, man, why do I feel this rush of new life? And they'll make shit up. You're like, oh, it's because this person's attractive. No, it's not even just their looks. I feel this energy moving, this attraction, this motion, this magnetism, this... And the thing is, if you're feeling that in yourself, then you're up to speed with the truth of who you are. And if you are, then you can discern how it's being expressed. But if you start to not feel that in yourself and you project it on your relationship and say, oh, my partner, I'm not feeling that from them anymore, then because it's already a projection away from you, then you'll magnetize someone else that unconsciously, you're going to give yourself permission to be more of yourself, and then you're going to feel all this energy rush inside your body and go, oh my gosh, and then I'm so confused. Wow. Should I be with this person? Should I not be? I don't even know.
Right. Wow.
Assuming you connect to your truth, you can get up to speed with who you really are in your soul. Let's just say that happened in an instant. In that instant, if you looked at your relationship on a soul level, has your marriage actually expired? Is it truthfully out of alignment in a pure, clear way?
Right.
Or is it not? And in the meantime, your draw over here, is this because you've given yourself permission? Is this because you have less definition? Is the draw towards this actually authentic or not? I'm not saying it's not authentic in the sense of how it feels. I'm not saying that the feeling's not real, but I'm saying the situation of being married and also having a lover, is that actually true? Like we'll just say 3 scenarios. One scenario is you're not married and you're with this. Scenario is you're not, the lover is gone and you're married. And then the third situation is I don't have any judgment on all 3 of them. Is you're married and you have a lover. But my question is it true?
Right.
But you can't, if you have a sufficient amount of judgment, you have no discernment of whether or not it's true. So that's why we create confusion. That's why we don't even know what's true, or we don't want to know what's true. So we stay in the question. And if you stay in the question, that's affecting the amount of fulfillment that you can have in the scenario. And I'm not saying you can't have a lot of amazingness within it. But you're hovering in a question, which is consuming energy and life force. And it may not be noticeable until it's noticeable, until it crowds your emotions or it crowds your thoughts. Then you're like, I can't stop thinking about this. Then that's your soul knocking.
Right.
And to the degree that you're not answering, we produce multiple questions, or we produce confusion, or we produce whatever, or we just avoid it altogether. Which one of those 4 scenarios is actually true? And I'm saying you can't even begin to answer that question if you have judgment. Not accurately.
Right.
Not from a level of truth you can't. You can maneuver it, manipulate it, and control it, and move chess pieces around in an infinite number of variations, but still actually remain not completely content because you're actually in a question because you don't know the answer. That's why if somebody would ask me, Oren, which one of these scenarios is the best scenario for if you're, talking about relationships? I'm like, I'm not even trying to answer that right now.
Right.
Because there could be 800 layers of ideas between the question and the answer.
Wow. So when you're in a relationship or marriage and your soul is you're saying your soul is trying to expand, and then maybe the other person is not, either you're somehow stifling it or you feel like the other person is stifling it. And so then your soul is going to try and find a way to continue to move the life force.
Right.
And continue to, yeah.
Yeah. And, I mean, one ideal situation is that, hey, you would do that together. What an idea.
Right.
You have to have a tremendous amount of courage, honesty, and love to do that together.
Right. Right. Exactly.
And there has to be space. If you're not allowed to think or feel or say certain things, then that's going to influence the rate of your evolution of coming into the truth of whatever's true for you and for both of you.
Yeah.
That's what's going to influence the amount of time that takes in any season of your life.
Because isn't that what happens, right? I mean, I kind of feel that. I mean, I've never been married myself, but I feel that people then in marriages just assume that my partner would never accept if I just told them this, that I really want this, or that I'm really looking to, or whatever. Or they like themselves put, I think, limitations on it because you're just in this marriage, so you just assume that there's no room there. Like, this is just how it is. This is how it's been for years.
Right, and even more deceptive and solid than an assumption is if the person actually tells you something and you take it to be solid. Like, for example, if I thought to myself with my girlfriend, man, I'd love to have a threesome, and I'm saying I would love to experiment and try that with you,
Right.
and just rewind back to the first scene I told you. If she were to say, now I could, and on the level of assumption, I could not even say that to her because I could assume, oh, she probably wouldn't want that.
Right.
But if I got more honest, then I might say it to her, and then she said, no, I don't want that. But even that is deceptive because she'd be like, I don't even like girls. What are you talking about? So now, you get what I'm saying?
Right.
Even that's not true.
Right.
Even that's not true. In that example, so I'm saying, like, we got to definitely move beyond our assumptions, and we got to keep going.
Yeah. Wow.
Moment to moment, breath to breath, and just like, because when all the information is accessible and transparent, then there's a possibility for harmony to occur, for love to really occur, for you to actually discover what really is there. And that's why if anybody's withholding, even in the example of the threesome example, if I feel like I would love to experience that and I don't communicate that because I'm assuming, or even because she said she didn't want it, or because she reacted to it, then now I'm tucking that into my subconscious and I'm like, okay, well, let me just act like that desire is not there now, and I'll respect you. I won't even say anything. I'll just think about it on my own, and then you can't know that part of me.
Oh.
And then you can say you want to know all of me, and I could say I want you to know all of me too. And I go, well, this is part of me. I'm not saying it's true or it's not true. It's part of me because it's in my thoughts. It's in my. I don't even know if it's true yet. My dear cat. I don't even know, but like.
Right. Ah, damn. There's so much there when it comes to relationships. I'm really seeing that. And like how freaking juicy and exciting it could be if we were all just like being honest and open and.
It's the only chance we have at having a successful relationship by our deeper definitions of what successful would be.
Right.
You know, and I think that, you know, I heard a quote recently that I really loved, and it said something like, the soul, the human protects, the soul evolves.
Mm.
And when the soul and the human meet, alchemy occurs.
Mm.
So that's why I said if somebody does not believe or observe or see that their soul is evolving, and from the first breath in this mofo, if we can't even agree on that relationship and have these agreements and set this intention and set this magnificent stage for this magnificent relationship, and we can't factor in our soul's evolution, then I'm telling you, like, it's crazy.
Mm.
So can you, in the idea of commitment, who would you have to be to commit to your partner's soul's evolution?
Mm.
You have to be courageous, for one.
Yeah.
Are you? Because that really is a picture of love.
Mm.
Unconditional love. Because if you understand and you can feel inside yourself the implications of following your soul's evolution and following your heart and being the fulfillment of that, if you know to the depth of your core what that really is and what that really means, and you want that for yourself, you can't not want it for another. I'm not saying you might not be scared shitless. I'm not saying you might not, you know, have all manner of clever attempts of controlling it, stopping it, slow. At the core, I think that is a foundation. It's one piece on the new relationship template that we're all co-creating. Like, wow. You know, what are we doing here? Like, that's one piece that I would put onto the canvas is I'm committed to your soul and to your soul's evolution. I do not want to control your soul's evolution. I'm not saying I'm always, going to be happy about that. I'm not saying that I'm even going to demonstrate, but if I can sincerely say that, you know what, Kat, that is what I want for you and for myself, then now I think we've got that's a really solid foundational piece. And it's uncontrollable. And that's what makes us feel unstable within it. It's like it's uncontrollable.
Yes. It makes us feel unstable, but it also makes us feel alive. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. Right? And I think that is an agreement worth considering. Can we really commit to each other's soul's evolution and to be a support in that in any way that we can that's in alignment with who we are? And not wanting it to come outside of that, not wanting you to actually sacrifice your soul's evolution for me.
Right.
Not that I'm not going to ask you to, but if I was writing an agreement with you, I would put that in the agreement. Like, it's kind of like, you ever see the movie Fight Club?
Oh, I haven't.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, there's a part in Fight Club where these guys are plotting this world takeover thing, and the guy who started this whole army, this whole Fight Club to, like, take over the world, he tried to stop them. His army that he built through his alter ego. His alter ego he didn't know about. He tried to stop them. And they said, sir, we can't stop. And he said, no, I'm telling you to stop. I'm telling you, we're changing the plan. And they were like, well, you told us you were going to say that. And he said, okay, well, then he said, everything he said, it's like, sir, you already told us you were going to say that. And I'm saying that to say that, like, if I were writing an agreement with you, I probably would, like, that would be part of our conversation, Kat. I would be like, if the moment comes, I'm telling you right now, there's going to come a moment where the very thing that we agreed on, I'm going to be asking you for something other than that. I don't really mean it. I don't really mean it.
Wow. So then if we're, you just said a minute ago too, like looking at somebody who's like married and looking at whether it actually is true for them to feel like it's maybe the relationship is complete. So is there in commitment, when you make a commitment, this is like huge too, looking at commitment in general, in different ways, but it's like, if you're committed to this person's soul growth, like you're saying, whether you actually get into a marriage with them or it's just, whatever it looks like, that still doesn't mean, though, that at some point you might both feel like, okay, your time in each other's lives is complete.
But if both of you were committed to each other's soul's growth, and that point came, there would be very little or no friction, and there would actually be love, joy, and grace.
Right.
It would be obvious that time came.
Right.
There wouldn't be 18,000 questions. But that almost never happens when people split.
What if those questions, though, are maybe like your deep soul knowing is that it's complete, but the questions are all just because of your limitations and your paradigms and your conditionings, making you go, oh, no, and your fears and your
Right. And your judgments. Yeah, if none of that's there, then it would be obvious. I mean, I'm giving an extreme example, not to say that there wouldn't be some disheartening and stuff, but there'd be very little or no friction. And the most pure, clear example, I mean, if you want to put like this in an idealistic idea, you wouldn't even have to say anything. It would just be like, you would just both know simultaneously. But you know how connected you'd have to be to your own soul, to God, to the infinite, to just know and not even, I mean, I'm giving an extreme example just to show, like, it would just be like, yeah, we're done here. Like,
right.
And there would be joy and appreciation.
Right. What if?
And so, if we're leaving a relationship and there's not joy and appreciation, then that is the gap and the distance between us and the truth, trying to come back full circle. It could take a year, it could take 10 years, it could take never. But when it comes full circle, there's nothing but gratitude and appreciation on a soul level. If it comes full circle and you catch back up to speed with what's true and up to speed with your soul, there'll be gratitude and love, real love.
What if out of the two, one of the two is maybe more connected? You know what I mean? Like more in tune, and just the other person's just not willing to see that it's complete. And one person can, the other person just isn't willing to see it yet. You know, this could be in a friendship, this could be in anything. Business.
That's a slippery. All these questions to me are slippery because of our perception of how. First of all, I mean, on one hand, I could say that like making it matter is part of the problem. Making it like not making it matter, like our desire on the same page. That's pure. The desire to be on the same page with another person. But because of the discomfort we feel in ourselves in relation to that desire for us to be on the same page, it's such a, these type of questions are so slippery, Kat, because like when a person asks me a question like that and talks about, you know, the other person, they generally say that from a place of, well, I'm completely clear, I'm completely up to speed, but my partner isn't. Mm-hmm. And the reason that's sticky almost all the time that somebody says it to me is because their perception that they're completely in alignment, completely whatever, is not accurate in the first place. It's like when you said, I was totally neutral with him.
But I was being careful.
You already started there. So anything that I'm saying, you're filtering it through the fact that you already determined that you were totally neutral. But I'm like, you weren't. So now you're only dealing with your own reflections, and so that's why, like, when somebody says, "But my partner doesn't," right there, they probably don't completely know that, or there's something in their vibrational field. Otherwise, it would be different. I'm not saying that means that they would know. I'm not saying that means that they wouldn't be hurt. I'm just saying we can't even tell the difference until we're really completely clear, which is almost never.
Are you completely clear? You can be completely clear.
That's why I say stuff sometimes that otherwise it's like, how did you land that one? How did you land that with that person when the last 100 people said the same thing and it didn't land? That's a miracle. But that's why it's such a rarity. That's why we call it a miracle. That's why it's miraculous if you're completely clear even just for a moment.
Yeah. And
when you're completely in your heart, that's what happens. Like, I remember I was working with a couple one time. It was a guy, and his wife wanted something, and he kept trying to give it to her, and he thought he gave it to her, and she kept being unsatisfied and going around. And he convinced himself that he's completely clear. He's like, I understand you. I can say it back to you. I even feel you. I did this. I did this. I gave you this. I said this. I said it. Boom, 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 boom. And he's like, I'm completely clear. And in one moment, because I guided him to the depth through his own vulnerability, through his inability to actually say it, he actually penetrated deeper into a feeling that he was avoiding inside himself. And when he did that, unbeknownst to him, he sunk right into his heart. And it just melted everything. And he looked at her and he was just like, he said like one word. And she's like, hallelujah!
Oh.
Victory.
Wow.
Because even though he was in an uncomfortable space, in a vulnerable space, it actually made his words resonate with a purity now. I don't mean pure like good or true. Like there was no friction inside him. There was just pure. And I don't even remember what he said. He might have said like, you know, I care about you. And so until a person's there, anything they're saying, like I'm like, you're only dealing with your own reflection. So we can't even, to help you try to manage the reflections, aka the other person, or try to come up with a more clever articulate, clear way of saying something or doing something to get this outcome that you're both saying you want is I don't say it's a waste of time, but it can create a lot of time. Because when you're at 0 point, which is completely uncomfortable sometimes, or completely raw, or just then it's just like it doesn't. Sometimes you're there and it's a totally inspired space. Sometimes you're there and it could be totally uninspired, but if it's raw and there's no more judgment, there's no more ounce of controlling you, there's no more nothing that you can do and say, even if it's because you're giving up and you're like, I give up, in that space, that's when everything changes. There's no friction, no resistance, purely heart.
Right.
And that, and it's not even a positive state. It could feel positive because you're feeling a lack of resistance. Even if it's horrible, even if nothing changed, if you surrender into that, your mind cannot conceive of, cannot even comprehend how you could be okay with that. But when you're there, you're actually, and I'm talking about the negative looking aspect of it, like you're in the worst scenario, just this most raw state, you're actually just as close to being invincible as if you were completely inspired and completely empowered, if you're in that pure state of vulnerability. And that's the miracle zone.
Right.
That's the miracle zone on that end of it, or on the other end of it, which looks to the one that you're already embodying. That's the zone where anything is possible now. And for a moment, you've glimpsed, you've touched, you've tasted, whether you're conscious of it or not, you've gotten close to the heart of pure love, unconditional love.
I just got tingles.